Hey there guys, this is Harrison from Coffeehaus coming at you again with some more tea. And I feel like I say this every time, but this one is a really special one. This is a Koucha, or a black tea, and it is not just a black tea. There's a couple special things about this one, and I'll dive into that in a second. But this one is produced from a third generation farm. And here, I can try to show you right here. And it's the producer's name is Harashima-san, and him and his wife have a tea shop. I think it's in Yame, but the tea, regardless, the tea is produced in Yame at 500 meters above sea level, and it is aged. And hear me out. I know we don't cover a lot of scented or flavored teas here, but it is like it's a fermented tea, of course, but it is actually fermented with cherry blossom leaves. And when I tell you this tea is sweet, like I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. It is like dried cherries through and through. It is an absolutely amazing smelling black tea. So I'm gonna kind of get in here real quickly, and then I'm gonna kind of talk about what I've got going on. Just so you all know, I've already preheated this vessel, just so I can dive straight in here. And I'm gonna hit this with 192 degrees Fahrenheit water. I tried this one at boiling. I much preferred it at 192 to 195. And I'm gonna do 100 mils with, I've got about 3.5 grams of tea in there. Even 3 is fine. I was feeling a little crazy today, threw an extra 0.5 in there, and we'll see. But I'm gonna let this go for 2 minutes here. So, in general, I carry a lot of green teas here, especially, coming from, the background of primarily studying a lot of Japanese teas. You're exposed to so many green teas, whereas black tea makes up a much smaller market in, what is produced in Japan. The stuff that does exist is absolutely incredible. A lot of the things that you generally expect from them, similar to Chinese black teas, are, a lot of like barley notes, almost malty notes. And, while that is something that I find so amazing about a lot of black teas, this one kind of hits you with a curveball. It's amazing. It's so sweet and just such an incredible tea in general. So you can't see right now. I'll try to see if I can hold up there to the camera, but as you brew it, when the tea opens, it is almost green. Like it's crazy how much it changes as it brews. It almost gives off the effect that it is an oolong, but it does not taste like an oolong at all, which I'm about to pull it, and then I will fully dissect this tea for you. But in short, this is by far, I think, the team's favorite tea that we've ever carried here. That's saying a lot, considering that we have a lot of really cool and a lot of really amazing teas. But especially, I think what makes this one so surprising is that when you think of a black tea, this is very far from what you'd originally expect. Even though that's exactly what it is also just so different. I don't mean to be so vague when I discuss this tea, but if you've tried this tea, or if you're planning on trying this tea, I highly recommend it, just because of how unique and how amazing and how sweet it is. But again, let me pull this up here. Now that it's brewed, one thing to mention, let me see if I can hold it from the bottom. You can kind of see the top. It got that characteristic that you find in a lot of Japanese tea, where it tends to be a little bit thicker, but this actually has so much more of a similar body to that of Taiwanese oolongs. So it is a little bit thinner. And again, like I'm throwing out comparing it to other teas here, which is not something I would normally do to black teas, but this one is just, again, it's so unique. Especially you've got that orange color to it, just very vibrant, almost golden. And then on the nose, again, that same cherry scent that you get from the tea transfers exactly over to the drink itself. So I'm gonna go in. Okay. I always need a second after I take a sip of this tea. It is so amazing. It's almost like a dessert tea. This is something that I really, really like with food specifically because of the sweetness that it carries. It stands on its own, but it also complements so many other, things where I find a lot of times when I'm analyzing tea, it's something that I want to kind of have alone, or I want to just sit and kind of dissect it. But this is just so amazing on its own, and it's very good to drink with dinner or after dinner, with dessert, may have you. But it's second to none when it comes to scented teas, specifically because the quality of the tea leaves grown in Yame are so amazing. It's not like they're using lesser quality tea and then scenting that to, kind of upscale the product. It is through and through a work of art in the way that it is blended and produced. I cannot remember the exact cultivars that are used with this, but even getting the scent of the tea in here, you get that like very strong, like almost Assam-like smell. You get those harsh, like malty barley syrup kind of scents in here, but that doesn't translate here. Like it's a back note, but it is very, very high quality, very amazingly produced black tea, and even though it may not look like it, here I'll show you right in there too. It may not look like it, but it is, and that's something that I find so fascinating about this tea, is especially for people who do prefer green teas or oolongs. This is the black tea for you. It's not too harsh with those more bready kind of notes. The fermentation is not anything too intense or too funky. It is so even in the way it provides flavor. The sweetness is very intense, but it's not overwhelming. The aspect of the little bit of barley or kind of breadiness that is there just kind of evaporates away after you taste it. And that's something that I just find so special about this tea, and something that has made me so excited to carry this, is that it is truly just a crowd pleaser. There's no other way to put it. As I continue, I might as well get us a second steep in here. But yeah, I'm going in at 100 mils again. I'm gonna go for 1 minute this time, just to kind of get that second steep, out very quickly. And here, I'm gonna set this over here. That way we can just start fresh. But, again, if we're gonna talk about, what makes this tea so unique, like I had mentioned before, Yame is known primarily for it's not just green teas, but it's gyokuros. So there's a lot of meticulous processing methods that are being done in Yame. A lot of traditional methods too, and a lot of wild growing bushes as well is something that you see a lot with teas. But black teas from Yame specifically is just not very common, let alone in Japan as a whole. So this tea just speaks so much on its own for kind of being a black sheep, or a black tea, literally. But it just keeps on giving. But whenever we've had a tasting with be it the team or other teams or clients of ours, this is one that we would always save and would always blow people away. Even if they are, again, normal, just they're used to the intensity that comes with gyokuro, sencha, what have you. This tea it just is, again, it's a favorite of many. Yeah, so coming into the second steep here, a lot of the cherries backed off. You get the sweetness, still, but not as intense. This one is a much more rounded drinking experience, even more so than the first steep. We're in the realm that this reminds me so much more of, what I would expect if somebody would hand me an oolong or, a black tea second steep. But again, you can see how light that is. It's unbelievable. But, if you, say if you run a cafe, if you are really interested in tea blends but want to kind of get more into the tea realm, this tea's for you. If you are somebody who is a black tea like purist, you get the nicest quality black teas, you do need to try this as well, because this is this is a very incredible experience for something that, you know, normally when like I had mentioned earlier, when I see flavored teas, you know, I generally kind of go, okay, what's going on here? Let me do my research before I get into this. But this is by far one of the best black tea drinking experiences I've ever had, and I've had the luxury of trying some really cool things. But yeah, again, absolutely amazing. This tea is on our website, and we are selling it. It is something you absolutely should pick up if you're interested, and if you have the chance to try it. But we'll be carrying this for quite some time. And if you have any other questions, or if you want to learn a little bit more about the farm and, you know, how this tea is processed, you can find out more about that on our website. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments, or, you know, leave me an email, and I'm super excited and happy to get back to you. So again, this is Harrison from Coffeehaus, and thank you so much.